The OnePlus Nord 5 is here to fight for its spot in the same mid-range space as its predecessor, the Nord 4. This new model brings some neat improvements, but it also has a few changes that not everyone is going to be happy about. In this rematch against the futuristic-looking Nothing Phone 3A Pro and the classy Samsung Galaxy A56, we're once again gonna take a deep dive into the design, display, performance, cameras, and battery to find out if the OnePlus Nord 5 really fixed the Nord 4's weakest points to take the overall crown as the best value for money mid-ranger. Hey, I'm Olive, your host here at Versus.com. From these three phones, the Nothing 3A Pro definitely stands out the most thanks to that simulated see-through design and those cool glyph lights. Interestingly, the OnePlus Nord went from looking like a Pixel 2 in its last iteration to looking just like the Galaxy A56 right here in this year's release. Or maybe it's a throwback to the very first OnePlus Nord? Who knows? All three phones have flat frames. The OnePlus and Nothing sport a plastic build, while the Galaxy has a more premium aluminium construction. For some, that might feel like a downgrade on the OnePlus, as the Nord 4 had a full aluminium unibody. As for the back panels, all have glass, though only Samsung is specific about the glass type on the A56, which is Gorilla Glass Victus Plus. As for dust and water protection, the Nothing has an IP64 rating, the OnePlus has IP65, and the Galaxy has IP67. This means all are dust tight, but the Nothing can only withstand water splashes, the OnePlus can handle low pressure water jets, and the Galaxy can be straight up submerged at up to 1 meter for 30 minutes. So as always, let's check in with the team and see who likes which design best.
The Nothing.
OnePlus.
The Galaxy.
The Nothing.
The Samsung. What about you?
I'm gonna go for the OnePlus, and if you want to grab any of these devices, be sure to check out the description for direct links. Now let's check out these displays. The OnePlus comes with a sizable 6.83-inch screen, the Nothing packs a 6.77-inch panel, and the Galaxy has a 6.7-inch display. All three screens are AMOLED and completely flat. For refresh rate, the OnePlus supports up to a super smooth 144Hz, while the other two only go up to 120Hz. We simulated sunlight at over 100,000 lux and measured how bright the screen typically gets using a full white screen. The OnePlus was the clear winner here, reaching 1,625 nits, the Nothing hit 1,465 nits, and the Galaxy was a bit behind at 1,312 nits. All plenty bright for when you go outside to touch some grass. For security, all three phones come with under-display optical fingerprint scanners. Now, for even more info on screen specs, including our measured peak brightness, feel free to pause the video right here. So while the Galaxy does offer better screen protection, its screen is a bit grainy compared to the other two. For us, the OnePlus is definitely the better option here, as it's clearer, has that higher refresh rate, and even supports Dolby Vision. But the screens are only one part of the multimedia experience, so let's check out the speakers on these phones. All three of these phones come equipped with stereo speakers, with one at the bottom and the other doubling as an earpiece. Here is a quick audio sample for you. So, even though none of these phones are exactly on a Bang & Olufsen level of audio quality, the speakers on the OnePlus and the Nothing are definitely alright, with good volume levels and some decent bass. The Galaxy, however, sounds a little weaker in comparison. But now let's head out and check out the cameras. For the main shooters, we've actually got 50 megapixel cameras in all three of these guys. In outdoor scenarios, photos from the OnePlus usually have high contrast levels, plus some strong sharpness applied to them. Both the Nothing and the Galaxy produce more natural-looking shots, with the Nothing looking a bit better. In indoor shots, you'll get pretty much the same results on all three phones, though the Galaxy did have some inconsistencies, managing white balance, delivering rather overly cold shots here. Now, for the ultra-wide cams, we have 8 megapixel sensors on the OnePlus and the Nothing, while the Galaxy has a slightly bigger 12 megapixel camera. Once again, in outdoor shots, we see those high contrast levels on the OnePlus, while this time the Nothing picks up a rather overly magenta tone. The Galaxy handles these scenarios more naturally, but some highlights can get a bit too bright. In indoor scenarios, it's pretty much the same as with the main cams. We have to say the OnePlus has the sharpest photo and the most correct white balance here, but as before, the contrast and saturation are a bit overcooked. When we switch modes to portrait, all of them have some spots where they slip up, but overall photos come out okay. We do have to say though that we're fans of that creamy bokeh effect on the OnePlus. In this same mode but at 3 times zoom, the Nothing looks better than the rest, as its edge detection absolutely improves when using the telephoto lens. Spoiler alert, the other two lack a telephoto lens. But before we check the zoom, let's take a look at the video quality. The Nothing and the Galaxy can film at up to 4K 30 FPS, while the OnePlus is capable of 4K 60 FPS video, but for our reviews, we always film our videos at 4K 30 FPS. In really challenging conditions, all of them struggle with the lighting changes, and as you can see, all suffer from heavy lens reflection in this sunny scene. Now for video with the ultra-wide camera, both the OnePlus and Nothing are limited to 1080p 30fps video, while the Galaxy can still output 4K 30fps video. Here the Galaxy benefits from that higher resolution, plus a much better dynamic range. The OnePlus, on the other hand, absolutely lacks image stabilization, the footage shaking like a chihuahua, plus all sharpness is just gone. The OnePlus, however, is also the only one that supports portrait video, but only at 1080p 30fps, and honestly, they could have skipped it just like Nothing in the Galaxy because the resulting videos look comically bad. But now let's flip these phones around. At the front, the OnePlus and the Nothing are both packing 50 megapixel cameras, while the Galaxy has a 12 megapixel one. In outdoor conditions, all phones are sharp enough, but the Nothing offers noticeably more natural bokeh, while the OnePlus, as before, has the most contrast and saturation. In low light conditions, the OnePlus is sharp, while the Galaxy is the most color accurate. The Nothing though has both of those advantages combined, making it the best for your after dark selfies. For video with these front-facing cams, the Nothing and the Galaxy can output 4K 30 FPS video, while the OnePlus is capable of 4K 60 FPS. But as before, all our videos are filmed at 4K 30 FPS. First of all, we do have a lot of lens reflections here given the camera's positioning, but even so, the Galaxy surprised us, delivering the sharpest and most natural looking video. So now let's test out the audio on all of these devices. We'll start off with the OnePlus. I'm in a pretty busy area, so how is it handling that? How do I sound? Moving on to the Nothing phone. How do I sound over here? Is it any better than OnePlus? Let me know. And finally, we have the Galaxy. Is it any better than the other two? Is it canceling out the noise well? What do you guys think? As always, let's talk about it. While no phone is extremely good at canceling background audio, at least the Nothing and the Galaxy are able to suppress the wind noise, something the OnePlus simply does not. For zoom, as hinted before, only the Nothing comes with a dedicated zoom lens, this being a 50 megapixel periscope telephoto with 3 times optical zoom. At 3 times zoom, the Nothing looks the most naturally sharp, but the OnePlus is actually not bad either. At 5 times zoom, the Nothing phone remains, as expected, the sharpest, while the OnePlus and the Galaxy look quite rough already. At 10 times zoom, it's pretty much the same thing, and at this level, the building on the Galaxy looks like it's made of Play-Doh. This is also its maximum zoom level. The OnePlus can zoom it up to 20 times, while the Nothing goes all the way to 60 times zoom, but honestly, we don't think you want to do that. Still, for most zooming needs, the Nothing is definitely the best here. The Galaxy, instead of packing a telephoto lens, comes with a 5 megapixel macro camera. At very close distances, this camera is actually quite effective, but the OnePlus can achieve similar results without a dedicated camera. The Nothing is just incapable of doing macro at these super short distances. It is, however, capable of doing macro with a telephoto lens, and while the OnePlus and the Galaxy look not bad, the Nothing just has a bunch more natural sharpness in its shots. But now let's step into the dark and snap some low-light shots. In these conditions, in photos with the main camera, sharpness takes quite a hit across the board, but the Nothing still comes up with the best results, while the Galaxy goes crazy with the tone. With the ultra-wide cameras, it's pretty much the same, the Galaxy selecting weird white balance temperatures, and the OnePlus and the Nothing looking more precise. With the telephoto lenses, the Galaxy just keeps on picking this super magenta tint. We think nothing does a better job capturing the low-light vibe here. In video with the main camera, the video from the OnePlus convinces us the most, even though it's not perfect. It has a good balance of colors and illumination, while also taming down the noise levels. Finally, on all videos with the ultra-wide cameras, there's tons of noise and shadows get absolutely crushed. If we had to choose, we would pick the one from the OnePlus, as it shows the most of the scene. So, in summary, the cameras on these phones are a bit of a mixed bag, but overall we have to say that nothing delivered the most balanced results in most categories. That said, we'd recommend you to think about the modes you use the most when picking which phone to snatch. But now, let's check out the performance of these bad boys. The OnePlus comes with a Snapdragon 8S Gen 3, the Nothing has a Snapdragon 7S Gen 3, and the Galaxy is running on an Exynos 1580. For RAM, our units come with 8, 12, and 8GB respectively. Here you can also check out the other RAM and storage options available, though availability really depends on where you're buying. But to really see what these phones can do, we'll throw them into some real-world testing, starting with gaming. We'll run 30-minute sessions with cooldown time in between. First up, Grid Auto Sport. We tweak the settings file to unlock 60 FPS in graphics mode, since it is capped at 30 FPS by default. All phones started at around 60 FPS, but the Nothing took a big hit, dropping to 30 FPS while the other two performed much better. For temperatures, the OnePlus was the hottest one here. Just as a note, the OnePlus can also run Grid Legends, which is a newer and much more demanding release that the others just can't even install. Next, we launched Withering Waves and cranked the graphics all the way up. Here, OnePlus and Nothing started at around 60 FPS, while the Galaxy started at 53 FPS. However, the Nothing dropped the most, plunging to only 26 FPS. As for temps, the Galaxy was once again the toastier one. Then we fired up Bloom's TD6 and flooded the screen with thousands of units to really stress the CPUs. Even though all started at 60 FPS and eventually dropped to really low FPS, the OnePlus still sustained 6 FPS, which is better than nothing. But for the third time in a row, it was also the hottest one. Moving on from gaming, we exported 99 photos in Lightroom. The OnePlus proved to be the quickest, finishing the task in under 7 minutes, while the other two took almost 10 minutes. Next, we rendered a 3-minute 4K 30fps video in CapCut. This time around, both the Galaxy and the Nothing were pretty close, while the OnePlus was interestingly the slowest. And just for fun, we also opened a massive Microsoft Excel file with over 4 million cells. The Galaxy worked on that file in 13 seconds, while the OnePlus was once again the slowest one. But now let's check out some benchmarks. In Geekbench 6, the OnePlus was evidently the best performer in both single and multi-core scores, with the Galaxy placing second and the Nothing coming in third. Nothing new. In 3D Mark's Wildlife Extreme Stress Test, once again, the OnePlus really showed what that chipset can do, scoring much higher than the Galaxy and Nothing, basically double the score. In Antutu, for the third time in a row, the OnePlus just left the other two far behind, breaching the million points line. The Nothing was the worst performer here. And lastly, we ran the cross-platform disk check benchmark to measure read and write speeds. The OnePlus got the fastest speeds in both sequential tests and in memory copy. In random storage, Nothing was the best, while the Galaxy, while not bad, didn't really shine here. This is surprising considering the OnePlus and the Galaxy use UFS 3.1 and the Nothing uses UFS 2.2 for storage. So just like with the Nord 4, the Nord 5 is still the best option if you just want raw power for gaming and most everyday tasks. And while it also scored the most in benchmarks, they don't always represent real-world performance. Now let's take a look at the software side of things. The OnePlus runs Oxygen OS 15, the Nothing has Nothing OS 3.2, and the Galaxy comes with One UI 7. All of them are based on Android 15. For software support, OnePlus promises 4 years of OS updates and 6 years of security patches. Nothing is only offering 3 years of OS updates, but also 6 years of security updates. Samsung, though, offers a full 6 years of both OS and security updates. Let's take a quick look at some of the features on these guys. Starting with Oxygen OS 15 on the OnePlus, Plus, we have the new customizable Plus key. And in case it wasn't obvious where the inspiration came from, the customizing interface looks very similar to the iPhones. Here you can save everything you want to remember for later in the mind space, with AI creating summaries from your screen caps. We also have AI search to ask anything you want to change about the phone's settings. Though it can't perform actions, it just tells you how to do them. On top of these features, the Nord 5 also comes with OnePlus's really neat multitasking solution and an IR blaster to control your electronic devices or turn off random screens at the bar. Moving on to Nothing OS, as we've said before, it's one of our favorite UIs with its minimalist vibes and plenty of original widgets. One of the main highlights is the Essential space, which can be accessed by this key, though its placement is a bit awkward as it can be easily confused with the power button. Just like OnePlus's Mind Space, here you can store everything you want to remember for later with AI assisting with summaries. Oh, and of course, here you also have the glyph lights on the back that fire up for calls, notifications, music, and much more. Finally, One UI on the Galaxy got a new coat of paint with version 7. The A56 doesn't come as packed with features as the S-series phones, but we can still find some practical utilities like Object Eraser in the gallery or AI Select, which lets you pull stuff right off your screen or even turn video clips into GIFs. It does, however, come with some bloatware, but thankfully it is easy to uninstall it, not like in the old TouchWiz days. But now let's move on to our last category. The OnePlus comes with a 5200 mAh battery in the global version we have here, which is actually a bit smaller than the battery we had on the Nord 4. The Nothing and the Galaxy, however, still have slightly smaller 5000 mAh cells. For wired charging speeds, the OnePlus supports up to 80 watts, which is also lower compared to the 100 watts on the Nord 4. The Nothing supports up to 50 watts and the Galaxy comes in at 45 watts. None of these phones support wireless charging, but both the OnePlus and the Galaxy support bypass charging, a great feature for all you gamers out there to keep your batteries cool while charging. In our charging test using a 100 watts charger, the OnePlus was the first to reach a full charge in just 48 minutes, hitting a speed of 46 watts. Next came the Nothing at 59 minutes, reaching 45 watts, and last came the Galaxy at 1 hour and 10 minutes, reaching 43 watts. But now let's talk about prices. The OnePlus Nord 5 is not officially sold in the US, but it retails for around $519 in Europe. The Nothing Phone 3a Pro sells for $459, and the Samsung Galaxy A56 comes in at $499, creating a $60 gap between the Nothing and the OnePlus. That's $60 that you could use to buy around 214 bananas. That's bananas. Alright, as we saw throughout this entire video, we have 3 very capable phones right here. But if we had to pick just one, and only one, it would have to be the OnePlus Nord 5. The new model still offers some of the best performance for the price, a really nice display, and speakers, and Oxygen OS is still a joy to use. But not everything is perfect, as the cameras could definitely be improved, and it's also not available in many markets like the US. And while it's also sad to see the full aluminium unibody from the Nord 4 go away, for some people the new plastic and glass construction might be just fine. That said, if for you cameras are the most important bit, then the Nothing Phone 3a Pro will satisfy your needs, while the Galaxy A56 will give you decent performance and the longest software support. Oh, and if you want to see how the OnePlus Nord 4 performed against the Nothing and Galaxy, make sure to check out this video right here. And before you go searching online for a Labubu, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and hit subscribe, as we're always testing new devices to help you make the best choice. We'll see you in our next video, and until then, take care.